Hey YouTube, for today's video we're going to be showing y'all how we set up ball python eggs for incubation. We get this question a lot and felt it was time to go ahead and do an instructional video so we can show y'all what we do here.
Okay, step one is pretty straightforward. We want to separate mom from her eggs while causing as little stress as possible to mom. When we're doing this step, we try our best not to get bit. If she's being extra feisty, you can put a paper towel or just a towel over her face, and that generally calms them down a bit. As we're pulling mom off, we want to be as careful as we can and not mess with the eggs. And then we also, once we get mom off, want to check right above the cloaca to make sure that there's no eggs left inside of her. Once we get her set down and separated, we move all of the eggs over into a secondary container, and then we're going to put mom back in the rack for now so we can give her a bath later and make sure she's cleaned up and getting her back on food as soon as possible. All right, for step two, we're going to separate the eggs and put them in our incubation container that has our dragon hatch tray as well as our incubation medium, which for us is vermiculite mixed with water at a 1-to-1 ratio based on weight. So 500 grams of water, 500 grams of vermiculite. One of the things I really want to point out while we're doing this though is when you're separating the eggs, be very careful. If they're not separated immediately, the secretion that the female produces actually acts like a glue and tightly holds the eggs together. And if you rush this process or are not careful, you can actually tear the eggs, which would not be a good thing. So time is okay to take on this, guys. We're not trying to speed through this part. We're trying to be careful and cautious and do everything we can. If an egg can't be separated, it's better to put it in without separating than to actually separate it and cause tearing. In step three, we're going to candle the eggs. What we're going to do is shine a flashlight on it. We're going to rotate the egg until we see the embryo at the top of the egg. The reason for this is we want to make sure A, the eggs are viable and that there is an embryo. And then B, we want to make sure that the embryo is at the top so that it's able to breathe and doesn't drown underneath all the liquid. Lastly, step four, we're going to seal the containers using press and seal. This last step allows us to make sure that no moisture is able to escape and the eggs have the proper level of humidity during the incubation process. It's relatively straightforward. We're going to measure out some press and seal. We're going to put it on. Then we're going to rub our fingers around the rim, making sure that it's completely sealed and that there's no places for air or moisture to leak out. Once we're confident that it's all sealed, we're going to take the plastic lid and we're going to put it back on top of there. You'll notice that instead of having 10 in 1 eggs like in the previous scene, we ended up separating it so it's 5 and 6. We just do this because we like to split them between 2 containers. Just in case there are any issues in 1 container, we don't potentially lose a whole clutch. This is a personal preference thing. You can absolutely have 10 eggs in 1 container. We just prefer to try and split it as evenly as possible. Once I'm confident the seal is perfect, we're going to put the lid back on and then we're going to label the tubs. We use ID cards that we Velcro to the tub. Those ID cards contain all the pertinent information: clutch number, parents, their IDs, the date it was laid, and the date we expect it to hatch. We'll put those on Velcro so they can't fall off. And then once that's done, we're going to toss everything in the incubator and get to see what hatches out in 58 to 60 days.
Alright, so that's setting up ball python eggs for incubation here at Chimera. I hope that you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. We're going to be doing more educational videos throughout the year, so hopefully you'll like and subscribe and come back and see what other footage we have in the future. Thanks, guys.